About 39 million people across the globe are currently living with HIV/AIDS. 54% of all people living with HIV are women and girls. 70% of the infected people live in sub-Saharan Africa. In the year 2022, 630,000 people died from HIV-related causes. 1.3 million people acquired HIV in that same year. Since the beginning of the HIV epidemic, about 84.2 million people have acquired HIV, and approximately 40.1 million people have died of AIDS-related illnesses. HIV, Human Immunodeficiency Virus, originated from Africa in the year 1959, specifically Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, which was then the Belgian Congo. HIV originated from a type of virus found in chimpanzees, gorillas and mangabeys called the Simian Immunodeficiency Virus, SIV. The Simian Immunodeficiency Virus was similar to HIV, but it did not cause illness in its primate host. Remarkably, most non-human primates infected with SIV do not develop AIDS-like symptoms. Studies have shown that these animals have evolved unique immunological adaptations that allows them to coexist with the virus without significant health consequences. According to scientists, the transmission of SIV to humans occurred through the hunting or butchering of chimpanzees for food. The virus crossed over to humans through contact with infected blood or body fluids during this process. This zoonotic transmission likely happened on multiple occasions, leading to the introduction of the virus into human population. Once transmitted to humans, the virus underwent a series of mutations that allowed it to adapt to the human immune system, eventually resulting in the Human Immunodeficiency Virus, HIV. The virus subsequently spread within the human population, initially in Central Africa and later across the globe through various means, including population movements and the global travel network. Once the Human Immunodeficiency Virus enters the bloodstream, it targets CD4 cells, a type of white blood cells, which play a central role in the body's defense against infections and diseases. In the first stage, the Human Immunodeficiency Virus gains entry by attaching to a protein on the surface of the CD4 cell. The virus releases all of its genes and fuses with the CD4 cell's DNA. The virus moves to the second stage, known as the viral replication. Once inside the CD4 cell, HIV begins its replication process. The virus hijacks the cell's machinery, forcing it to produce new viral HIV particles. This process weakens the CD4 cell and eventually leading to its destruction. Once the CD4 cell is destroyed, the newly created HIV viral particles are released to attack other CD4 cells. The rapid replication of the virus contributes to the progressive decline of the immune system. The next severe stage of the virus is when it develops into AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is the last and the most dangerous stage of HIV. AIDS is a type of disease in which the human immune system is highly damaged and can no longer fight against certain opportunistic infections and diseases. As the virus continues to assault the immune system, the CD4 cell count drops and the individual becomes increasingly susceptible to opportunistic infections and certain cancers. AIDS is diagnosed when the CD4 cell count falls below the critical level, typically 200 cells per microliter of blood, or when specific opportunistic infections or cancers emerge. AIDS patients may experience severe weight loss, chronic fatigue, and neurological complications. In the absence of effective treatment, individuals with AIDS face a significantly increased risk of succumbing to these complications. During the initial stage of HIV infection, many individuals experience symptoms such as flu, fever, fatigue, sore throat, and swollen glands. These symptoms typically appear within 2 to 4 weeks after contracting the virus and may last for a few weeks. In the past recent years, dangerous masculine factors have discouraged men from seeking medical care. About 80% of women were accessing medical treatment in the year 2021, and less than 70% of men were on treatment. 6 in 7 new HIV infections among adolescents aged 15 to 19 years are among girls in sub-Saharan Africa. Girls and young women aged 15 to 24 years are twice as likely to be living with HIV than young men. Girls and young women are at a high risk. In recent years, the number of people acquiring HIV has fallen by 32% since the year 2010, and about 52% among children. AIDS-related deaths have also decreased by 68% since the peak in 2004. A lot of prominent organizations have contributed massively in combating the spread of HIV. The HIV epidemic has been forced into decline. Great measures have been put in place to possibly end the AIDS epidemic by the year 2030. Initiatives like the United Nations Programme on HIV/AIDS 1990 targets have been set up to accelerate efforts to end the AIDS epidemic. These targets aim to ensure that 90% of people living with HIV know their status. 90% of those diagnosed with HIV received sustained antiretroviral therapy, and 90% of those receiving treatment achieve viral suppression. The Simian Immunodeficiency Virus strains exist in various primate species, but not all are capable of crossing over to infect humans. The complex interplay of genetic and ecological factors determines the likelihood of cross-species transmission. Additionally, the transmission of SIV to humans does not guarantee the development of an HIV epidemic. Various socio-behavioral and biological factors influence the potential for sustained human-to-human transmission. A lot of progress has been made in expanding access to life-saving antiretroviral therapy, but many people still lack access to proper treatment and care, leading to increased vulnerability to the progression of the disease. Stigmatization and discrimination continue to pose significant barriers to HIV prevention, testing, and treatment efforts, hindering the global response to the pandemic. The disruptions in healthcare systems, limited access to essential services, and economic hardships have all contributed to the compounding challenges faced by people living with HIV/AIDS worldwide.